It has been 1 week since the fatal terrorist attacks that took Paris by surprise Friday, November 13th. The city is slowly returning to normal, but the entire world is still shaken up. French culture, it seemed, had become a victim of war. But the people of Paris, of France, and of Europe as a whole have refused to let the Islamic State taint the reputation of a beautiful city full of wonderful people. The monument in the Place de la République is a somber yet breathtaking sight. Hand-drawn signs, multicolored flowers, and flickering candles cover every inch of the plinth, which bears the 31-foot statue of Marianne, the embodiment of the French Republic. This has been a time of mourning for Paris, and it has also been a time of sadness and frustration for the rest of the world. Unlike the many tourists who are canceling their trips, longtime friends Helen and Maëlle did not let the uproar ruin their plans to come to Paris this weekend. Both women currently live in the south of France, but used to live in Paris. After some initial hesitation, they decided that they would let the trip double as a vacation, as well as an opportunity to pay their respects to the city they used to call home.
It was very hard for us because we had the feeling that our friends and families could have been here.
The friends describe how the atmosphere seems more tense and the people appear more vigilant. Paris is not the same happy-go-lucky city they remember.
There are not a lot of people in the street. Less than usually. In the metro, we are a little bit scared. We took the bus and not a metro.
In the immediate aftermath of the events, the French authorities flooded the streets with police officers and soldiers to reassure the public. A week later, men in uniform carrying loaded rifles are still ubiquitous, patrolling tourist spots and transportation hubs. Security guards are even stationed at the entrance of nearly every single store, inspecting customers' bags and asking them to open their coats. Diane and Stan Puri from England felt a bit apprehensive given the heightened security. The couple has been taking an annual trip to Paris for over 20 years, and this year's plans coincidentally fell on the weekend after the attacks. But like Helen and Maëlle, they felt that canceling was never an option. When they arrived in their home away from home, they actually thought that Paris felt the same as it always had.
I haven't noticed a difference in the people themselves.
There's been no change, really, has there?
The couple also identifies with the French civilians, recognizing that they, like all other Europeans, are in a danger zone. That said, they don't believe that these terrorists should stop anyone from living their lives.
We're part of Europe as well in England, so, it could happen just as easily. Well, it has happened in London, so it's, you just have to move on and just make sure they don't win.
Grégoire Ossovi is one Parisian who has felt the profound effects of the terrorist attacks. Though Ossovi happened to be outside the city last weekend, his home is only a couple blocks away from the Place de la République. When news reached him about the attacks, he could only sit in front of his television and cry. He does not know any of the victims personally, but he recognizes that he could have very well been amongst them had he been less lucky.
All the dead people look like me. They are 30 years old, educated people from this place.
Ossovi explains that he's especially shocked because the killings were so random.
This is not a symbol like we could have anticipated, like Eiffel Tower or Ministry or anything symbolic like this.
Many locals are staying home, away from potential targets, but just as many are carrying out their regular routines. Ossovi says that though the attacks were terrifying for everyone, individual reactions of the citizens have varied.
The metro is not so crowded and people are not going around. Some of my friends are really scared and I'm not because what's the point?
These events have resurfaced the fears from the massacre that occurred 8 months earlier, in which 12 people were killed at the offices of the French satirical weekly newspaper Charlie Hebdo. Though the rest of the world saw Parisians coming together in defiance against the Islamic extremists responsible, Ossovi experienced a much different reality. The people of Paris were actually at odds.
Last January, the nature of the attack just divided everybody. It was really painful to see that.
Ossovi says that the reaction to last Friday's events, however, has been much different. He does not feel safe necessarily due to the security, but rather because there is an indiscriminate unity among Parisians that was not there before.
You should have seen that. Everybody was there, young people, old people, every colors, every religion.
It is clear that there is a common consensus among Parisians, the French, and Europeans as a whole. The terrorists cannot win, and solidarity is the weapon of choice in the battle against terrorism. This is Christina Gassford reporting from Paris for Emerson College.